Hello everyone, and welcome once again to Mishnah Minutes. In this video we will be learning Mishnayos Berachos, Perek Gimel, Mishnah Aleph. The learning of this Mishnah has been sponsored by my in-laws, Rabbi and Mrs. Rosenblatt, as a schus for the entire extended Rosenblatt family. Everyone should see much mazel and bracha from their families. The Mishnah begins, Mi shemeisai mutal lefanav. Somebody who has a niftar, somebody who passed away, who is mutal lefanav, who is placed before him. What does this mean? Somebody who has a close relative who has been niftar, and it is a relative for whom one has a chiyuv to be misabel. Somebody is obligated to mourn and to have avelus, to be noeg avelus for this relative. So we're talking about somebody who lost a parent or a sibling or a child or a spouse, and that niftar is mutal lefanav, is placed before him. What does that mean? It means that he has a responsibility to see to it that that mace, that niftar, should come to a proper kvura. Now, according to most Rishonim, it would seem that this means anybody who lost a relative and he has a chiyuv to be misabel for that relative, even if there is one particular relative who carries the primary responsibility to take care of the kvura, so there is somebody who is taking care of the kvura, still, since he has lost a relative that he has a chiyuv to be misabel for, he shares in the responsibility to take care of the mace and to see to it that the mace should be brought to a proper kvura. Such a person, pater mikriya shema, is exempt from saying kriya shema min ha-tefillah. He's also exempt from the chiyuv of tefillah, from the chiyuv of davening shemona esrei, min ha-tefillin. He's also exempt from the chiyuv to put on tefillin. Why is this? So, this is another example of what we saw in the previous parak. We saw that a chassan is pater from kriya shema because he's tarred with the tirda de mitzvah. He's involved in something that is an involvement of a mitzvah. He's busy with a mitzvah. He's oisik b'mitzvah. So too over here, the chiyuv to take care of the mace is a mitzvah. And again, this person, since he carries the responsibility to take care of the mace, he's tarred with the tirda de mitzvah, and therefore he's pater from kriya shema, from tefillah, and from tefillin, at least until the time that the mace is buried. The truth is that the p'tur from tefillin, the p'tur for putting on tefillin, continues even after the mace is buried, continues for the entire first day. This person is known as an oinain. He's a mourner that's in the stage of aninus, where the mace has not yet been buried, and therefore he's pater from all of these things. Now, the next part of the Mishnah has to do with the way they used to make a levaya. You have a levaya, there's a mace, and a lot of people, and they all want to be involved in the mitzvah of bringing the mace to the kvura. What they used to do was, the niftar would be laying on a stretcher, and they would bring out the stretcher, and they would pass the stretcher with the niftar on it from one group of people to the next group of people to the next group of people. In this way, every group would have a share in the mitzvah of giving kavod to the mace and bringing the mace to kvura. Now, the question the Mishnah is going to deal with is, who exactly is pater from saying kriya shema when it comes to carrying the mace? Now we're not only restricting ourselves to the question of a relative. We're speaking now about anybody who's present by the levaya, who maybe is going to carry the mace or who already carried the mace. What is their p'tur from saying kriya shema? Because they are also tarred in a tirda de mitzvah. Since they are going to be taking care of the mace, that's also a tirda de mitzvah that gives them a p'tur from saying kriya shema. So now the Mishnah continues. Noisei hamita, the people who are going to carry the mita, the stretcher that the niftar is on, v'chalufeihen, and those that are going to take their place, the next group that's going to take the place of the people that are now carrying the mita, v'chalufei chalufeihen, and the third group that's going to take the second group's place. As shalifnei hamita, there are people who are before the mita, they're still ahead of the mita has not yet reached them. Ves shalachar hamita, then there are those who are behind the mita, the stretcher with the niftar, has already passed them. So now the Mishnah discusses their dinim. As shalamita tzairich behen, the ones that the mita the stretcher with the nifter, still has a need for. What does that mean? That means any group that has not yet carried the mita, and they are intending to carry the mita. So these are groups of people who are still going to carry the mita. They have not yet had their turn. So as shalamita tzarech behen, the ones that the mita still has a need for, peturin, they are still pater from saying Kriya Shema. Since they still intend on carrying the mita, they still have the tirda de mitzvah. They're still involved in the mitzvah of kavod hameis and bringing the mace to kfura. So they are still pater from Kriya Shema. That's she'ein lemita tzarech behen, the ones that the mita does not need, either because they already had their turn carrying the mita and they don't intend on taking another turn, or maybe they haven't had a turn at all, but they don't intend on taking a turn. So that's she'ein lemita tzarech behen, the ones that the mita has no need for because they are not involved in the mitzvah of kavod hameis, they're not going to carry the mita, chayavin. Those individuals are chayiv in saying Kriya Shema because what p'tur do they have? They're not involved in the tir de the mitzvah. They're not involved in the kavod hameis. They're not going to be carrying the mita. Elu ve'elu p'turim min hatfila. But both groups, the groups that have yet to carry the mita and the group that either already carried the mita or are not going to carry the mita, p'turim min hatfila. They are still pater from saying Kriya Shema. Now, the Rav gives, they are still pater from saying Shemayin Esrei. They are pater from their chiyuv of tefillah. Now, the Rav gives me two reasons for this p'tur from tefillah. For the ones that are not going to carry the mita. The ones that are going to carry the mita are pater from tefillah the same way they're pater from Kriya Shema. But the ones who are not going to carry the mita, they're chayiv in Kriya Shema, but they're pater from tefillah. Why are they pater from tefillah? So the Rav gives me two reasons. First, the Rav says, the lav da araisahi k'may Kriya Shema. The chiyuv of tefillah, the chiyuv of davening Shemayin Esrei, is not a chiyuv d'oraisa. That's a chiyuv d'Rabbanan. Since it's only a chiyuv d'Rabbanan, and they are involved in kavod hameis, they don't have the tirda de mitzvah of going to actually carry the mace, but they are involved in levayas hameis, which is also a mitzvah. So since the chiyuv of tefillah is only d'Rabbanan, it's easier to make them pater. The Amri, the Rav says, others say, Mipnei shehi tzricha kavana yisera. We had this concept earlier. We know that in order to be Yaitza the Chiv of Kriya Shema, so you have to have kavana at least on the first pasuk of what the words mean. You have to have intent. You have to concentrate on the meaning of Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad to be mekabel ol malchus shamayim. But to daven Shemayin Esrei, you need kavana from the beginning of Shemayin Esrei all the way to the end of Shemayin Esrei. If you daven to Hashem and you have no kavana in what you're saying, that's not a davening. So it's much harder to fulfill your obligation of tefillah, of davening Shemayin Esrei, than it is to fulfill your obligation of saying Kriya Shema. Another reason that's brought down, why there's a p'tur from tefillah, but not a p'tur from Kriya Shema for those that already carried the mace or are not going to carry the mace, is that in order to daven Shemayin Esrei properly, you have to stand in one place from the beginning of the Shemayin Esrei till the end of the Shemayin Esrei. Now you have a levaya going on over here. People are going to carry the mace, they're coming back from carrying the mace. It's much more difficult to tell somebody, even if he's not going to carry the mace, that he has to stop everything, stand where he is, and daven a whole Shemayin Esrei. So that's another reason that's brought down why there's a p'tur from tefillah, even for those who have already carried the mace. Thank you so much for joining me for the learning of this Mishnah. I hope you continue to join me for the learning of many, many more Mishnayos to come. Have a wonderful day.